Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started. Thank you everybody for joining. There are quite a few of you on the line. I know a lot of people are still joining. My name is Kevin Burgoyne. I'm the president and CEO of the Florida Venture Forum. Also on the line with me is my colleague Pat Schneider, who runs the forum with me.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And just want to say a quick word about the Florida Venture Forum. For those of you who don't know, we're a 36-year-old member organization. We do a lot of things, but primarily we help growing companies connect with capital sources and other services they need to grow and scale. We produce the annual Florida Venture Capital Conference, which takes place in January, and also the annual Florida Early Stage Capital Conference, which normally takes place in May. But due to the current situation, we have moved that event to October. So let's all hope that everything's back to normal by October. It's October 15th and 16th in Tampa, Florida. It's a great event. So we encourage you to go to our website, flventure.org. We have all kinds of information, including information, that is designed to help companies handle the current situation we're all living through and continue to thrive. So we want to be a resource. We're committed to doing that. So please visit our website, flventure.org. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Stephanie from Micromedia Marketing. Stephanie is actually works with us at the Florida Venture Forum. We've had the pleasure of working with her for going on 2 years now, I think. Actually, our relationship started a lot longer ago than that. She helped us in the very early days of social media, kind of get our house in order social media wise. She has forgotten more about marketing and social media than I'll ever know. She's a great resource, and this presentation in particular is, I think, going to be very helpful to a lot of people, particularly given what we're going through. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Stephanie. Stephanie?
Thank you so much for having me, Kevin, and thank you for putting this together. Thank you to Pat and Fiona for organizing everything. So yes, my name is Stephanie. I'm the president of Micromedia Marketing, and I think a lot of you might feel how this man does in this photo right here. The goal of this webinar is to give you a little bit of peace of mind and have things be a little more organized and give you a little sense of what the new normal is like working from home. I know that looks a lot differently for everyone. So you may be working with kids, you might have your spouse, you might be dealing with a team working remote. So we're gonna cover different ways and different tips that can help you throughout this new state of working from home. So the first thing I'm gonna ask everyone, which I like to ask my friends and my team, how are you feeling today? What kind of Brittany are you today? And personally, myself, I usually hang around at 6. I tend to do a bit of junk food eating, eating a lot of things that I used to eat in 1995 that I normally don't purchase in my household. That's kind of what the situation is looking like for me, being home, just having some comfort foods. This Saturday, I was feeling a bit of a 4 because sometimes I don't even know what day it actually is, and it didn't totally feel like the weekend to me. So I was more of a 4, like this feels like every other day. Pat, I know, has been getting in her workouts early in the morning, so she's being super productive and starting her day like a 2. What I want to make sure is that nobody here is getting to the 8 or 9 stage of Brittany where we're shaving our heads. I have seen some people are starting to cut their husband's hair because they can't go to the barber. And luckily, I haven't seen any horror haircuts yet on social media. So Let's be thankful for some YouTube tutorials and let's get through this together. So as Kevin mentioned, I have been working with the forum for the last couple years and I oversee social media strategies. But I've actually been running my company for 10 years successfully with a team of predominantly stay-at-home moms that are able to balance being home with their kids and also getting their work done through social media online. So I want to share how have I been able to do that. And I've gone through different phases in my career where I've worked in corporate America at big offices. In Miami, I also had an office in Coral Gables, right across from Fritz and Franz, that it was more of an open concept office. And, you know, everyone can kind of see what everyone else is working on. It was a very creative space, but a lot of interactions going on all day. You know, through co-working spaces like WeWork, I travel a lot. I also tried that out. But when I have conference calls and meetings, I found that to be a little bit of a distraction as well. So I've paid for offices for years, whether it was a personal office or a co-working office. And 9 times out of 10, I would actually get more done working from home than I would being in a traditional office setting. So how would I get more done? My tip number one is to think about things that are changing now. One of the top things, I think most people that are on are in Florida. I know some contacts of mine are in Chicago. One thing that we can probably all agree on is that we're not having to commute to work at this moment. Miami traffic, I saw a meme where it was like, people are stuck in traffic in Miami trying to get to Miami. So think about that. Think about all the time that you're saving on a daily basis that you would be spending on a commute. For people in Florida, I think you're saving, you know, maybe your commute's 30 minutes. So every day you're saving an hour, could easily be longer. So you might actually be saving a couple hours a day. Now, how are you going to repurpose that time and what can you do with it? For me, I like to take that extra time that I have before my clients and my team is logged in, emailing me and asking me questions, and I like to plan my day out and do some of my busy work. For other people, for one of my friends, it was taking that moment to herself and doing some yoga and getting her head right before she starts her day. For those of you that have kids, it's getting them ready for the day, cooking them breakfast, spending some quality time with them. So think about that extra time. If you really have another extra hour on top of that, you can even take up a course online and learn something new that can advance your career. So don't just sleep in, as much as that might be, you know, tempting to do. Try to repurpose that extra time that you're saving and put it to work for something that's going to help you. Fight the urge to get up every morning, roll out of bed, walk over to your couch in your pajamas, and just work in that way. Like, just looking at this guy makes me want to take a nap, because how can you feel productive or get a ton done if you're going to be working in this way? You have to reshift your mind to think, okay, it is Tuesday. I'm going to get up, take a shower, get dressed, go sit and work, and like putting yourself together and being in the mindset of these are my work hours and this is my work time is going to make you feel a lot better. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to have a couple of days while this is all going on that you're going to want to put your sweatpants on. That is okay, but don't do this on a daily basis. Like, really just act like you're going to go to work and you're going to have a normal day and follow those normal steps. Now, not everything is always as it seems when you're on these video calls. You might have your dogs running around. You might have business on the top, casual on the bottom, and that's absolutely fine. Again, like, it's a balance between how you're feeling, but also, one thing to keep in mind when you're on these video calls is all your coworkers are judging your background. So just have a balance that works for you. But tip number 2 is having an actual dedicated workspace. So we talked about being on the couch isn't going to be super productive. Staying in bed definitely is not going to help you. So one of the first things that you should do, and you probably already have at this point, set up a dedicated workspace. That could mean a second office. That could mean setting up something on your kitchen table. Make sure you clear everything out, and that is your dedicated workspace. You know, have some good lighting, have your headphones, have your water, put a flower up next to you, whatever makes you feel better, but make sure that that is your work area, that your family, you know, isn't putting other things around, and that you can focus your time there. My husband is now working from home, and we used to both work from home together, but for the past like 4 or 5 years, he's been going into an office. So now, like right now that I'm on the webinar, like he's in our guest bedroom working, and we decided that we're going to order a separate desk to set up a more functional working area in the guest bedroom, because when things like this come up, it's good for everyone to have their own dedicated workspace when possible. And you know, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It just has to be you getting up, going to work, sitting in your dedicated workspace to get more things done. Tip number 3 is minimizing distractions. Now, distractions can be different for everyone. Distractions can be your kids. Distractions can be social media, which, as much as I personally love social media and do it every day, it's something that pops up on my phone every 2 seconds. So I did this for myself personally. I would say 2 or 3 years ago, I turned off all my notifications, and a lot of times during the day, I put my do not disturb on when I'm working. More so now than ever, there are people at home that want to talk to you. They might want to FaceTime you at odd hours. Some people might want to start turning the TV on and watching TV. I try to minimize that. That doesn't mean that you can't take breaks. My husband likes to watch some TV when he's having lunch, and for me, that's like a dedicated time that I think it's okay to have TV on, at least for him, because that works for him. For me, I like for it to be quiet, and normally I wouldn't turn the TV on at all until he walked in the door from work and like work hours were over. So I do have another friend that she likes background noise. She doesn't like it for it to be quiet, and she leaves it on like very low, like background noise for her, and that works for her. But if you're finding that certain things are distracting you, try to minimize them, and do that not 24/7, but do that when you're really trying to be productive and block out time to get work done. So tip number 4 is to normalize your schedule. This looks very different for everyone, especially if you are working at home with kids. So if you are working at home with kids, like a lot of my team does, for them, that means that they get a lot of their work might get done later at night. So they're home with their family, their husband's there getting in from work, and like they might schedule and plan things out later at night. If they need to be on a conference call, I know that between certain hours, their kids are napping, and like that's when we'll set a conference call. And I know what time are good working times for them. For me, I try to be available 9 to 5 Eastern time and set certain expectations. I have some friends that haven't been working from home that have worked until midnight and we're working on the weekends. And it's great to get things done, but you're going to burn yourself out. So you need to have a regular schedule and keep things as normal as you possibly can. And then take breaks and build in breaks between that. So you can, one of the things I've been doing more is in the afternoon, having lunch and going for a walk and getting some fresh air. You have to remember to stop working, because when you're working from home, sometimes you can just work 24/7. So it is important to have somewhat of a normal schedule. Something else that another friend that works from home does is she blocks out certain time that's working time. So you might have certain meetings that you have to take, and then there's certain projects you're working on. And if you don't want other things added to your calendar, block an hour or 2 out to make sure that you work on certain projects that are important. Tip number 5 is setting and completing goals. So one of the things that's going to make you feel more productive and normal is to actually be working on something and to have goals. Not everyone is working right now, but I see people doing things that are super creative. And one of my friends is an actress, and she started rewriting quarantine songs, and she joined Cameo, where people can actually pay and order songs. Now, this sounds kind of like a random thing, but every single day, she's doing 19 for COVID-19. Every single day, she rewrites a song. They're hilarious. They're getting a ton of views. She did one with Lisa Loeb, and Lisa Loeb reshared it on social media. Every day, that was like a small goal for her to complete. And she set the goal overall of doing 19 in total. Now, for me and my team, what we're working on social media-wise, I know that I'm going to talk to my clients once a week, and every week there's certain things that I'm going to work on for them. Like tomorrow's April 1st, we're going to start launching ads for the month, and then an overall goal for the month that I know is a bigger goal is doing reporting and showing them what's going on with those ads. So there's a difference between setting small goals that you might have for the day or the week, and then overall larger goals that you want to accomplish. And it's going to make you and your team feel so much better to set goals and expectations. So there are tools that you can use, and Asana is a tool that integrates easily with Google Docs, and it has a free version. Redbooth has like a free trial that you can use, and then there is a paid version, but most of the tools I'm going to share are free, especially for smaller companies. And then as you add upgrades to it, they have small fees. What's great about Redbooth and Asana is that you can set certain projects for your team. So in this case, I'm going to say we're going to set up April ads on Pinterest, and then I'm going to assign that to Sonia that's running ads for me. And then I'm going to list out what specific products are going to be promoted in those ads. And then she's going to go in and check off what she has completed, and it's going to be all super organized. And whether she's in Atlanta and I'm in Chicago, we'll be able to work on the same project together. And you can also set deadlines and dates around them, so you can see what everyone's working on. You can collaborate if more than one person is working on something. And even when you finish a tiny goal for that day, you're going to feel so much better. Tip number 6, and this is one of the most important things, is that you communicate with your team, with partners that you're working with, and with your clients. You need to communicate now more than ever, because everyone's going through different experiences and different things that they're trying to figure out. And doing that together and reconnecting with them and having a constant flow of communication is extremely important for any business. So here I have 2 tools. One is Slack, which is free, I think, for the first 10 users. And 2 is Microsoft Teams. And Microsoft Teams, if you're already using Microsoft internally, like it connects with everything for free. So that, I would say, if you're using Microsoft already, that's going to be the easiest thing to integrate with your team. Slack, I love. So it's a way to have conversations and chat about certain topics. So the way that I would look at it is you want to have every department have their own channel of communication. So the sales team can have one, the marketing team can have one, and then you can also have channels that are just for fun, that can just, make the team feel better. Let's say, and I saw a Facebook group about this, was like quarantine cooking. So you can have a channel in here where people are just sharing what recipes they're making. My husband and I were joking that we were on an episode of Chopped, and it's like, we have pancakes and carrots, and what are we going to make with what's left in the refrigerator? So lightening things up and having other conversations with your team and communicating through tools like Slack and Microsoft, I think is super important, especially if you're in a larger organization where you're used to seeing these people on a daily basis, having those conversations with them. You don't want to lose that kind of relationship. So you can also have one-on-one conversations. I think having one of these tools is absolutely essential. Tip number 6 is communicating with your well, it's the same tip, but I'm giving you an example here of how you would communicate as a business to your partners and your clients. So Slack and Microsoft Teams is great for your internal team, but it's also super important to let customers and partners know what is going on. So the forum actually has a resources section, and they dedicated a complete section to share resources for small businesses and what news is going on with COVID-19. What can you do to help small businesses? They're promoting webinars, and they're doing that on their website in that dedicated section, which I'm listing here, but they've also done that, of course, through social media channels, which is one of the best and fastest ways to communicate, but also through emails. So think of the different online resources that you have. Think about how you can make it easy for people to find what's going on with you. So a lot of websites put a section at the top of their site. I did not know I knew so many companies and restaurants because I got so many emails of what people were doing with COVID-19. And I'm sure you guys did too. You were like, you know, what are all these companies? What are all these emails? But if you had a company that you actually wanted to know what they were doing, I would click on it and read it. Like, it's extremely important to let people know. So I think for now, everyone has pretty much put out an overview of what their plans are, what's going on. Like Kevin mentioned, you know, with the early stage conference, it was in May. So we let people know about the updated dates in October. Utilize these tools. A lot of times these tools are free. Don't think about keeping it to yourself. Communicate, over communicate more so than you have in the past. Do it as quickly as you can, and do it on the online tools that you already have, like your website, your email marketing list, and your social media. Now, communicating doesn't all have to be about work. We need to have fun. We need to keep that company culture going. So you can, if you are having a company event, like let's say every month or every other week you had a company happy hour, or you guys would go out to a restaurant, keep that going with your team as much as you can. So here we have a trivia game going, and you know, you can have fun with it. You can do different events. So I've seen trivia, I've seen karaoke, I've seen game nights. You can make it themed over different topics. Jimmy Kimmel every Friday was doing a formal Friday, so everyone on video gets dressed up. I've seen hat days. One of my friends that's on the call said they have a theme every day, and on Monday they're doing wellness, and I think they did like an online meditation before they started. Like, try to integrate some normalcy and some fun. My husband does a daily check-in with his team just for a few minutes, just to say hi. And it's not work related. It's just that social side that we're missing that we would normally have in an office, that you would normally have with your team. Keep that going and do it at least weekly or daily, depending on how often you would normally communicate with your team. So Zoom, I'm sure everyone at this point has had a couple awkward Zoom calls. Some of them have been really funny and have caught on and have been shared on social media. Zoom can be used both for business and for personal, and it's one of the best ways to communicate and have regular video calls. It also has a free option, I think up to 40 minutes, and then from there, like, you would upgrade to another format. But it's super essential. I think at this point, everyone has already used it. You can use it as an app on your phone. You can use it on your desktop. And I'll share a couple tips for Zoom so that you get the hang of using it. And one other nice thing about Zoom is, you know, you can share your screen. So if you are having a business meeting, you can present whatever you need to present to people. And you can also break out into separate groups. So let's say you have a large company meeting and you do an overview, but you want like marketing and sales to have separate conversations about it. They can go into their own breakout rooms and have conversations there as well. Again, having fun with it. There are times where you're not going to have time to clean up your background. You might be sitting on a couch. So Zoom, this is an example of Zoom, has like their own little backgrounds that you can add in. You can even add like a formal company backdrop, but I think for the most part, just have fun with it. And this is an option that you can use on Zoom that I'll show you. We talked about during your commute or blocking out during times to learn something new. Not all of us are working from home. Some of us are trying to figure out different careers at this time. And the internet is our friend right now. There are so many resources. A lot of them are free. Like Coursera is offering free courses from universities such as Yale. And like I signed up for the Science of Well-Being, and I got an email. It's completely online. It says that I can take it in 3 weeks, and it recommends that I do 2 hours a week. But really, you can take it at your own pace. And a lot of times it'll help you to learn something new that you can implement into your current career, or it might give you ideas to shift into a different career. And again, these resources are free. There's so many categories in there. I don't know, I saw this on social media and it popped up, but like when I went in there, you can learn about like here's like the art of negotiation. I saw classes related to being a lawyer, like anything that you can think of. Obviously you'd have to go to school for that, but anything you can think of, if you want to advance your skills, I would definitely check out Coursera. And then let's not forget a big part of staying sane through all this working from home, especially if you have a lot of people in your house or you're in a small place and you just want to get out and just feel better, is your health and wellness. Don't forget about it. Like I personally have, thankfully, I have been busy because clients do want to get their messages out on social media, but you have to have that balance and you have to take care of yourself. And you could do that together as a family. You could do that on your own. There are different apps that are offering free versions. So Calm and Obey Fitness are two that I have checked out. Calm has more of a meditation and mindfulness app. And what it does is, this is good also if you don't have a lot of time. You can listen to something for like a minute and like kind of regroup before you get on a conference call and get in the right mindset. Obey Fitness does a lot of classes online. Some of them are shorter, so if you don't have time, you can do a quick 10-minute class. I think they have a free week trial. What I've noticed though is they're very active on social media, talking to their customers, and a lot of people are asking for classes with kids. Like, I need to get this energy out of my kids. What do I do? Can you add some classes for kids? What at-home things can I work out with? So I personally cleared out in my living room, my coffee table's gone, and we're using our rug to work out on, and I'm taking a Zumba class, and I think my Zumba instructor's on. So Jackie, if you're here, thanks for teaching those Zumba classes on Zoom. It's important to have that dedicated time. Maybe you have only once a week, or maybe you have to do it on the weekend, but take, even if it's a minute, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, and there are some classes that you can take with your family as well. Everyone knows this BBC guy that all his, like 2 of his kids came into the room, they wouldn't get out of the room. Someone, I think his wife came in and dragged them out. Things like this may happen to us over the course of all of us working from home and being on Zoom. One simple thing that you could do is, besides communicating with your spouse, like, okay, during these hours, I'm going to be on calls, lock your door. Try to do it on a schedule that you think will work better. But I have an even better tip. No, I'm just kidding. We don't want to tape our kids down, but putting your headphones on, setting expectations with your family, and then just being realistic. I think everyone right now is going to be a lot more conscious and forgiving. Like they're not going to mind if your dog starts barking or if your baby starts crying. You know, just put yourself on mute, do the best you can. But setting maybe a certain schedule where you're going to take video calls if possible is a great thing that you can do. Another tool for kids that is just amazing, and this is a past presenter at the forum, Caribou. When this first started, they were the first companies to come out and say, we're going to offer our app for free. And their app allows grandparents to read to their kids through video, and they can read together. They have a library. It is a great tool. So I put together a list of resources, and one of my friends shared online different resources like for learning math, like especially if you don't have like your classes for kids being shown online and you're just trying to teach them on your own. This is a reading resource. Caribou is. There's resources for math, for spelling, for all kinds of things. So I would be happy to share that list with you, and I can, my email's at the end. So if you're interested, I'll share that resource for tools for kids. Helping each other and helping others is extremely important. Social media is a great way to do that. If there's a business that is a traditional brick and mortar that isn't open right now, there are different ways that you can help to promote them. One way is to just post about them, connect with them on social media, stay up to date to what they're doing, join their email list, you know, share some of their content. Some places are doing gift cards or tips for barbers or people that aren't working right now. If you want to support a small business, check out what they're doing on social media, share it with their friends, tag a friend. It's free, it doesn't take a lot of time, and it's a great time to support each other. Okay, so I mentioned a lot of tools that you can use. And again, a lot of these are free, or they start at a free version and then you can upgrade. So Slack and Microsoft Teams was to overall have a better communication with your teams. Zoom is what everyone's using to do video. You can also use FaceTime, or Facebook has their own version of this. But seeing each other face to face on video, a lot of times in the past, I wouldn't want to be on video. Now I've been switching and making sure that I am on video, but I think it's important for people to see each other, see, you know, eye-to-eye communication, laugh with each other. So Zoom was one of the best tools right now. And then Redbooth and Asana were the tools used to like manage projects, assign tasks and goals, and collaborate. And then health and wellness, I separated it into its own section. So we talked about Calm and Obey, which are mindfulness or fitness related. Caribou is the one for grandparents reading to their grandkids and seeing each other on video. Health Joy, disclaimer, it's my husband's company, he's the CMO, but it offers telemedicine, so employers can offer telemedicine to their employees. In this time where people definitely don't or can't leave their houses for something simple, or even something more serious, it is a great tool. Like I've used it a lot, and I think it's great to offer that peace of mind to employees. Coursera is where you can take free educational courses online. Marco Polo, I use this more personally with friends to share videos. So if I don't have time to go live on a Zoom call and I'm working, what's nice about Marco Polo is someone can shoot you over a video, and then when you're done doing whatever and you have a break, like you can send a video back. So it's a nice way to communicate. And then the most important tip is here on the left is where the mute button is. Next to that is the video button. And then you have a little arrow next to the start video button that will let you also change your background. So just make sure that you are on mute. I think for the most part, people that haven't been on virtual meetings that often don't mute themselves, and they might have a lot of background noise. That's super simple. It's going to be your friend. Definitely use the mute button when you're not talking. And then that's it. Thank you guys. We made it through 14 days. Well, at least I've been over 14 days of quarantine. I'm sure you guys have been on a lot of Zoom meetings and webinars, so I appreciate you so much for taking the time and let me share my experience. And for those of you that enjoyed this, I have been doing social media for 10 years. I've been implementing different ways to change your messaging during this time. So we're going to be doing another webinar with the forum on April 14th at 11 a.m. If you want to block that time out on your calendar, we will send more information. Follow us on social media and the forum on social media, and we'll announce like more details when that becomes available. And I think we're going to open it up to some questions. But before we do that, If you have questions about any of these tools and you want to reach out to me, my email is here. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you.